Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Muriel. This is Nurse Muriel. To my new subscribers, how y'all doing? To my oldies but goodies, welcome back y'all. How y'all doing? So I'm on my, today is day 6 of orientation, orient with the med nurse, y'all. So this job utilizes the LPNs to pass meds, RNs to do like assessments, chart documentation, charting, stuff like that, body audits. But they are cross-training the RNs in the med room because they have been having issues with keeping a med nurse here because the med pass, y'all, is so heavy in this lodge because they're geriatrics. You know, they're gonna the patients there are going to get more meds than say a pediatric patient, not pediatric, excuse me, a young adult or adolescent patient. You know, the med pass on geriatrics is going to be heavy, just like in long-term care, it's going to be heavy. They utilize the Pyxis here, and they utilize the scanning system to get meds. So, yesterday I oriented with the LPN that was in there. I'm not going to say her name. Y'all wouldn't know her anyway. I oriented with the LPN that was in the med room. Now, initially when I came, I was like, hey, put me in the med room. I've been passing meds, shoot, all my career. Put me in there. I'm fine with that because when I was here Friday for like 3 hours in this building, the med nurse left like around 11 o'clock, and they had to put one of the RNs in there, and they were like going back and forth on, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. None of the RNs want to do it, and I didn't understand why, because I was like, shoot, all you gotta do is pass meds, you ain't got nothing else to do. Like, that's gravy. Yeah, put me in. You know how they say, put me in, coach. So yesterday I was in there with the med nurse. I was pulling, she was passing, y'all. Whew, child, they get a lot of meds. Some of them don't get as many, some of them refuse, but the ones who do get a lot of meds get a lot of meds. And so the med pass really took like 3 hours because I was first time I was new, trying to, the Pyxis is like the Pyxis I work with in the hospital, but they have different ways of doing things, and so it kind of threw me off when I was pulling. But no, we got finished we didn't start till after 8 o'clock, y'all, so it didn't even take a full 2 hours because we got finished like at 10:10, and we didn't start till after 8 o'clock, so it didn't take a full 2 hours, but it worked well. I pulled, she gave. I pulled, she scanned, she gave. I didn't do any of the signing off or any of that. So today I came in, they were like, I thought me and the other orientee were going to switch out. I was going to be in the nurse's station, and she was going to be in the med room to get that experience, and they were like, no, we're going to put you back in the med room. So I was like, okay. So it's a different orientee this time. Y'all, when I tell you passive aggressive, very passive aggressive. So when I got in there, I was like, you know, hello, they want me to come in the med room today. And she was like, oh, and what's your name? I said, my name's Muriel. She was like, my name is blah, blah, blah. So after a while, she just sat down and she had her arms crossed. And I was like, so how do you want to do this today? Because yesterday I pulled and Miss blah, 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 she passed the meds. And she was like, child, I done passed the dang thing again. She was like, I done passed the restaurant again, y'all. I gotta look at these. So she was like, that's fine, whatever. But then the supervisor came through because I guess DHEC was in the building recently, and she was like, whoever pulls has to pass, whoever pulls has to give it. It was like whoever pulls the meds has to give the meds or whatever. So then, you know, the nurse looks at me and she was like, oh, well, you're pulling, so you have to give them. So I was like, okay, you know, I was like, okay, that's fine, because I need to learn, you know, I need to learn the whole process anyway on signing off and everything. So, but of course, this is only my second day in this med room. Okay, so in the process of me pulling and passing, I have questions, and she's sitting there like she don't have the answers to these questions. So I'm asking her, you know, different things I'm asking, and she's not answering me. She's sitting there with her arms folded. People are coming to the window asking her what's wrong, and she was like, oh no, I'm just here, you know. So then it was a couple of medications that were missed because either I scanned and it didn't go through, or there were creams, or, you know, something like certain medications, the barcode isn't scanning. So when I went back to sign them off, they were showing up as they weren't showing up. I was like, how do I get back to sign off some of these missed medications? And she was like, you can't. And I was like, huh? I said, ain't no way to go through into my missed medications and sign them off? And she was like, no. I said, it gotta be a way to sign them. It gotta be a way to sign off missed medications. Now I'm thinking, because y'all, I come from long-term care. There's always a way to sign. There's always gonna be the way to sign off a missed medication. I don't care where you work. So she was like, oh, well, she was like, well, it's never happened to me, so I don't know. So I told her, I said, well, there's no way they could expect me on my second day to give all the medications on time. I said, so when you oriented, I said, your first and second day, you gave all your meds on time? You know, so she was like, well, I never had to sign off for missed medications. So, y'all, I just went ahead and figured it out myself, how to do it. I went through different boxes, clicking different boxes, and tried to figure out myself how to sign them things off, because she was no help, y'all. None whatsoever. So I figured out how to sign off the missed medications. I'm already like, something wrong with this lady. Something is wrong with this lady. So as I'm doing this, the charge nurse, who happens to be the one who, you know, recommended me to come work there, she came in and she was checking on me. You know, she was like, how's it going? You know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's going good. You know, I said, didn't you make some changes in here? Because some things is just, it's too much work for, it's not practical to be passing meds again amount on time. And I was like, they're gonna have to make some changes. And she was like, well, talk it over with, you know, the supervisor or whatever. And so she saw that the charge nurse came in and she was like, oh, y'all know each other? And the charge nurse was like, yeah, I know. And she said my last name or whatever. And so I think from that point on, honey, it rubbed her the wrong way, the LPN. I'm only saying the LPN because I don't want to say her name. But it kind of rubbed her the wrong way. And then she was already not helpful. But she became even worse. It got even worse. So after I finished passing the meds, it was like 10:25, y'all. So it wasn't that long. We didn't start at 8 o'clock. We finished at 10:25. So to say that was my first time doing everything, 10:25 is 2 hours and 25 minutes is not bad, because it takes about that to pass meds in long-term care. So then we go take a little coffee break, and the supervisor came in the break room to question me about, you know, how did it go? And I told her, I was like, well, and by that point, y'all, I was like, my back was hurting. I had never had back pain just from passing medication, y'all. But my back was hurting. I told her, I was like, it's really not practical in there for, I said, that is some hard work. I said, it's really not practical to be passing meds in there. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was telling her, you know, all the twisting and turning you got to do. I told her, my back hurts. I said, my lower back is hurting from all that twisting and turning. And she was like, well, we're going to see, you know, she was like, well, when you get back in there, show me what you're talking about. So when we went back in there, and I was, you know, the supervisor came in there, and she was asking me basically to show her what was up or whatever. And so I was showing her, and as I was showing her, she was going through the motions of pulling the meds here, scanning, she was going in circles. And she was like, oh yeah, I understand what you're saying. So come to find out, they were working 2 nurses in there at one time. They just recently stopped 2 nurses, and they just recently stopped letting you pre-pull. So they're not pre-pulling. And so you are going in circles like this, going from the Pyxis to first you're going to the patient, to the Pyxis, to the scanner, back to the patient, like you're going, yeah. So she see what I'm saying. And then I told her, and I was like, and with the treatments, I was like, can they put the treatments on the TAR? And instead of having the treatment scheduled for like 9 a.m., could you put it like 7A, 7P to 7A? I said, because there's no way if I'm passing medication to 26 people that I have time to stop and rub a cream on somebody, or rub this or rub. I don't have time to do that. Can you put it on the TAR and put it as a shift and not just a specific time? And she was like, that's understandable too. She's going to talk to somebody to see what they can do about that. So y'all and I think, and I say the LPN now, not in a degrading way, but I'm saying the LPN because I don't want to say her name. I'm going to say the med nurse. So I think the med nurse was getting upset that they were coming to me asking me questions. And I don't know if to her it felt like I was getting attention. Oh, can he get in? Because child, they don't mind hitting your car. So I don't know to her if it felt like if to her, I'm maybe too close to that call. It felt like I was getting attention that I shouldn't have gotten, But yeah, the attitude was horrible, y'all. So when we went back in there, it's time for me to do the 11 o'clock blood, 11:30, 12 o'clock blood sugars. So I had never went to that screen before. So I was asking her, where do I go to get to the blood sugars? And so she took me to the screen. And when I went to the screen, I saw that the 8 a.m. insulins, like I said, you can't scan insulin, so they weren't checked off. So I was trying to check them off, but then it took me to another screen, and I didn't understand how do you sign off that you, I said, so how do you sign off that you didn't administer something? Because the person had a sliding scale, her blood sugar, the patient had a sliding scale, their blood sugar was not in parameters to receive any insulin, but you have to sign off you did not administer any. So she was like, what do you mean? I said, well, the blood sugar was what, blah, 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 and she didn't get any insulin, so how do I sign off that I didn't administer? She said, you don't sign it off. And I said, huh? I said, you don't sign? I said, so I just leave it red? Because red looks like it's a missed medication. And she was like, what do you mean? I said, how do I not sign off that I had to give her this insulin? So she got up, child took me to a whole screen, all of a sudden knew what I was talking about and walked me through it. But originally she said, now mind you, as I'm passing meds this morning, all this is under her name. It's not under my name because I'm not even logged in, so it's going to reflect poorly on her. Okay, so, but I'm just trying to figure out their system is a different system. I've never worked with this system before. But y'all, it was like pulling teeth in there with her. It was like, and then the charge nurse came in there. And the charge nurse said, did you tell the supervisor about the things you were saying about passing meds in here? And I said, yeah, I told her, and I explained to her what I meant by going and like, and why it gave me back pain with all that twisting and turning. And then she was like, well, maybe she'll talk to somebody and they'll do something about it. And then the med nurse, she was like, oh yeah, because they'll listen to the RNs, but they never listen. They didn't try to do anything for the LPNs, but maybe they'll do it for the RNs. So I looked at her, I said, well, did you ever tell her that this was an issue? I said, did you ever tell her that this was an issue with you? I said, because if you never tell her, how are they supposed to know? And so that's when the charge nurse was like, she was like, well, yeah, all before we could pre-pour. And we had 2 nurses. So it's probably an issue now because we're not allowed to pre-pour and we're not allowed to. And so the med nurse just sat there quiet with her arms folded, girl. So anyway, I had to go get the label book because now I'm going to sign off Miss Meds, but the patients are not at the windows. And I'm signing off blood sugar checks and the patient's not at the window, so I need the label book. So I go get the label book. But while I'm in there, the charge nurse, I guess she saw the little friction from me and the med nurse. So the charge nurse, she was like, are you okay? I was like, she has a serious RN LPN complex, and I am not with it today. I said, she just, like, I was saying all this stuff, and the supervisor, she was overhearing me, I guess. So then she called me. She came and she asked me to come to her office. So when I went to her office, she was asking me what was the problem, and I was telling her what the problem was, and she was like, I said, she has a serious problem. I said, she has a real bad attitude, and she was like, that's always, and I said, I was trying to ask her how to do certain things, because this is on my second time in there, and I hadn't signed anything off yesterday. I was just pulling meds, and and she was telling me she don't know how to do this, she don't know how to do that, and so the supervisor was like, what? I said, yeah, she was telling me. I said, so I just had to try to figure it out on my own. She was like, don't go back in there. She said, don't go back in there today. Don't go back in there. She said, matter of fact, let me call the charge nurse and tell her you're not going back in there. Yeah, girl. So I just want to put it out there for my LPNs, y'all. Some of y'all. Because I was an LPN. And I promise you, I never felt any type of way about an RN being an RN. I felt some type of way about having to ask the RN to do things that I couldn't do under my scope of practice. But I never felt any type of way about an RN being an RN. And so they should know how to do this and they should know how to do that. Because if you've never done it before, how will you know? But I think she felt like, this med nurse felt like I'm an RN. So, like, what does that matter? You training. If you're training me, that tells you that and I've never worked in this. I'm asking you questions. That means I've never done this before. So train me, train me. And so, yeah, she just had a serious RN LPN complex, y'all. And y'all know I don't have that complex. I work in long-term care. Honey, I'm passing, pushing the cart right alongside the LPNs, okay? When I worked in the hospital, I was tending to my patients right alongside the LPNs. We were doing just about the same job in the hospital, and we are definitely doing the same job in the nursing home, and I've been doing it for 20-something years. I don't have a complex. When it comes to RN and LPN, my only thing is my paycheck going to be correct? You're going to have my money right on my paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Please, y'all. If you have to train an RN, don't come with the frame of mind that, oh, they're an RN and I'm having to show them. Yeah, because we never did it before. They've never done it before. When they get time under their belt, they'll know how to do it. If you have a problem being an LPN training an RN, then tell your supervisor you don't want to train us. Because I'd rather you not train me. And the med nurse I was with yesterday was an LPN, honey. We had a beautiful, lovely day. It was no beautiful day. Beautiful day. Today, child. So I'm about to get my salad and my sandwich, head back to the job. I'm back on the floor. I'm in the area with the nurses who do the documentation and assessments. I'm not going back in that med room. I asked the supervisor, please don't even put me back in the train. Don't put me back in the med room to train with her ever again. Like, I can't do it, her attitude. And after the supervisor came and told me to come to her office, I think she realized something was up. Then she started trying to be a little nice then. But honey, it's too late. The attitude is horrible. And y'all, I'm such a friendly person. I am a very friendly person. I don't know what the problem was with her. I don't know, y'all. I don't know what it was. I felt like I was taking a lot of work off. She was sitting over there just telling me the names of the patients. She didn't have nothing to do, and I have a problem with that because I want to learn the whole process. But when I have a question, I have a question. Anyway, y'all, I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.